Yes, hello and welcome to the Fantasy Wildcard Dynasty Show. Back after a couple of weeks off. We've got Mags, we've got James, we've got the best three. Lads, how are you doing?
I'm doing very, very well, mate. It's great to be back on the show, talking to you fine gents with, like you said, the best three. Can't wait to get into some really interesting predictions here for the season. That's, you know what? Creeping up, isn't it? It's creeping up. We're almost there.
Yeah, I'm all good as well. It's slightly roasting in this room at the moment. So, yeah, hopefully there's not too many hot takes on this so I don't get even hotter. But yeah, looking forward to getting into this. Yeah, it's been a while. So, yeah, good to be back.
I've seen the show sheet, James. There is some hot takes from the hot seat himself. So, can't wait for that. And we'll kick it off with our new section about the host's questions. So, it's going to be off the back of our previous show where we did the Superflex startup, where each of us took three of the same position for the first three rounds. Ended up, obviously really well because we were all smart gents. But I just wanted to pick your brains about what is your perfect startup for the first three rounds of a Dynasty Superflex startup. So would it be, do you like to secure your two quarterbacks early? Do you perhaps secure an elite wide receivers? Do you like to grab at least one running back in the first three rounds? Or do you like to try and grab one of those elite tight ends? So if you were to pick your perfect first three picks, say it be quarterback, wide receiver, quarterback, how would it go? And I'll ask Mags first.
It's... For me, I the leagues I feel most comfortable in when I'm reviewing now and trying to make moves for the offseason, deciding what I'm going to do, if I've got two quarterbacks that I'm not worried about, I just feel so much more comfortable. Like, it's really difficult when you're trying to make moves to try and get a quarterback. If you've got one and you need your super flex option, you'll find a lot of, I could maybe trade you Bryce Young. Oh, maybe you want to take a shot on, like some of these guys that aren't the real deal yet. You get a hell of a lot of Tyler Shuck, have a shot on him. Or these guys like last year, it was Will Levis, people like that people are willing to let go. But trying to get a secure quarterback, even trying to get a guy like Baker Mayfield now that is secure, is really difficult. So I do like getting in my first three picks, if I can get two quarterbacks I'm really happy with. And even if it is overdrafting someone like, I don't know, it used to be Jared Goff, right? That used to be the guy. Maybe Brock Purdy now is more the guy. Even if it means overdrafting that guy, I'm pleased because it means I don't have to worry about this team in the most important position for years and years. So I like getting two if I can.
James, is it similar for you in terms of your strategy for the first three rounds?
Yeah, it is. I think I said it on the show where we did that draft. I don't think I've ever drafted a running back first two rounds at least, maybe in the third round, but yeah, I'm always quarterback. If you have to, you take an elite wide receiver in that end of the first round. But yeah, if I'm not coming away with two quarterbacks, one wide receiver through the first three rounds, I'm already nervous. It obviously depends who you're drafting with, because sometimes, you see the wide receivers fly off the board much earlier, and you can wait on your quarterback too and stuff like that. But yeah, normally first three rounds, two quarterbacks, one wide receiver. I've never drafted a tight end that early. Obviously, like nowadays, like with Brock Bowers and Trey McBride, the value is for them to be in those first three rounds, but it wasn't a year ago. So yeah, that's the kind of thing. If you're doing a startup, the chances are that there's going to be someone else, or the person that is valued that high is not the same anymore. So that longevity and the sort of reliability with the quarterbacks is definitely where I go.
Yeah, I'm going to sound pretty boring, to be honest, because it's similar to me. Once the first, say, five quarterbacks are off the board, I think I'll straight away reaching for Jamar Chase. And I think Brock Bowers is in that category. You could easily take him, perhaps Chase, Jefferson, and then Brock Bowers to give yourself an advantage. But I'm definitely eyeing up a quarterback in round two and probably again round three. Just as you said, Mags, it's so hard to trade for a quarterback, and I absolutely hate having to overpay for a quarterback. There's just people not willing to trade a quarterback unless they're getting a quarterback back in in the deal or an early rookie pick where they know they can also get a quarterback. So it's so difficult.
There's people like Mags that take 5 or 6, whatever it was, in the first 5 rounds as well. So you've got to factor that in.
The hoarders. Yeah. So with that, we'll move on and just have a roundup, because we have been off there for a couple of weeks, the roundup of the latest news. So I'll ask, there's 4 pieces of news that we want to talk about, and I'll ask each of you 2 of these. We'll come to the Washington expert first, obviously, to talk about Terry McLaurin. He seems to be holding out over a new contract. He wasn't at mandatory minicamp, so I believe he will be fine somewhat. But I'm guessing they're going to come to some sort of contract agreement. But, you know, obviously he had a massive 2024 season, a real breakout for him. But now he's 29.8 years old, so he's approaching that 30 mark. Wide receiver 7 in 2024. And on Keep Trade Cut currently, wide receiver 29. So James, how are you approaching Terry McLaurin right now? Are you trying to buy him? Are you trying to sell him? Or do you think he's just a hold because someone's not going to pay the price that you want?
Yeah, he's just a hold. There's no need to panic. This happened with his previous deal. I think it's 2022. He missed the mini camp and everything, and then it was early July. They came to an agreement. He is 29, and he's going to be 30. I think either really early in the season or just before the season. And so I think he's a couple of years younger than the likes of DK Metcalf, but they were in the same draft class, and so was Debo as well, actually. So he's going to want that DK Metcalf money. I think it's like 33 million a year average, and Terry's on like 23 at the moment. So yeah, he's going to want at least 30, isn't he? Because I mean, we can probably say that he's a more reliable, or certainly in fantasy anyway, more reliable asset at the moment than DK. So yeah, in real life, probably the same. So he's going to want that same money. Obviously, he's a couple of years older, so there's going to have to be a bit of wiggle room, I assume. But yeah, there's no need to panic. If someone is panicking, then obviously, yeah, I'll be happy to buy him as well. But I don't think that anyone is really that worried as well at the moment. Once if we actually get to proper training camp and everything like that, and it's still going on, then there might be a few people panicking. But at the moment, I don't think there's too much to worry about, and there's no need to sort of buy or sell, really.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's in the best place. The chemistry between him and Jane Daniels was pretty incredible in 2024, and I expect it to continue. They need him, so I think they'll come to some sort of agreement. The next piece of news was J.K. Dobbins signing with the Broncos, and we're going to come to the J.K. Dobbins expert, the guy that owns, I don't know if he still does, but once upon a time he owned so many shares of J.K. Dobbins. So, Mags, are you liking this situation for J.K. Dobbins, and how much do you think it affects R.J. Harvey?
I will need to go and double check, but once upon a time, he was my most owned player in Dynasty Fantasy Football. And, you know, of course, I love me some RJ Harvey. So I'm going to be real torn as I'm watching, you know, my Chiefs divisional rivals, Denver Broncos, because I'm like, yeah, like, I'm loving these guys. But, I mean, I've got a lot of good handcuffs now because I got a lot of RJ Harvey. I got a lot of J.K. Dobbins. So I don't see Dobbins really affecting RJ Harvey too much when it comes to his fantasy relevancy, because I think RJ Harvey will do a lot of the pass catching work. I think we'll see Dobbins at the start of the year come in quite a lot. It'll be more of a 50-50, but RJ Harvey should overtake Dobbins fairly quickly. We've seen Dobbins, you know, come back from an Achilles and do well, but I mean, he's not going to last the season. Let's be honest, guys. It's sad to say, but he's not going to make it through the season. If he does get on a little run and start looking good, I will be looking to sell J.K. Dobbins because I have too many shares. But I'll look to sell for sure.
Yeah, no, I think it's right. I think they've signed him because I think Sean Payton thinks that the Broncos can be a contender this year and contend maybe for the division. So I think it just gives him extra depth, and he wasn't very expensive. So I agree with what you said for fantasy there. Another running back that signed is Nick Chubb, signed with the Texans. James, any interest in Nick Chubb as a real cheap running back depth piece? And do you think it's going to affect Joe Mixon too much? Because Joe Mixon had a hell of a workload in 2024.
What do you think it would take you to buy Nick Chubb now? I don't know if it's worth anything more than a third, is it? Like, just, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just, yeah, if you've got him, you're relatively happy that obviously there's Mixon there, but Mixon's obviously getting on a little bit, so there's a chance that Nick Chubb sees some work if Mixon has an injury, misses a couple of games. Like I said, he had a big workload last year. I think if anything, it's good for the Texans to sort of spread it all around a bit. Obviously, they drafted Woody Marks as well. It's not going to make too much of a difference for anyone really. It's just a bit boring to say, but yeah, I wouldn't be worried if I had Mixon, and if I had Chubb, then I'd be waiting for Mixon to miss a game and then trying to sell him. I wouldn't really be looking to buy Chubb. He didn't really look like he had much left in him, did he, last year? So yeah, that's where I am.
Yeah, and then talking about players who probably haven't got a lot left in him, Aaron Rodgers finally signs with the Steelers. I do have a couple of Aaron Rodgers shares just kicking around just because he was worth nothing. Do you think he can be relevant at all in Pittsburgh, Mags, or is it just no interest whatsoever? He's going to be one and done. I'll just put Met as my comment.
3 years ago on the Fantasy Wildcard Rewind show, rest in peace, myself and Paul Pickett told everybody 3 years ago, we said Aaron Rodgers is washed. And people were like outraged. And he hasn't done anything relevant since that sentence has been uttered. He's done. He's not very good anymore. He's probably not even in the top 32 best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, probably with you there. I think he still thinks he is, while he's thinking about things in his retreat. But yeah, it's not very exciting. I mean, the wide receiver core there doesn't really make you excited either. So I think he's just a depth piece. If he has a game, a decent game, perhaps that's an opportunity to sell him for, I don't know, what could you get? A late second, early third? Someone desperate with a quarterback injury? I don't know.
He's a good throw-in, isn't he? That's where you'd be using him, right? You'd be like, I'll give you Aaron Rodgers. I think that's where you use him as like get something over the line. Yeah,
exactly. Well, that was not exactly the most exciting part of the show, but we will move on to our 2025 season predictions. And these are important because we will be revisiting these when we crown our official award winners for 2025. But starting off our first award of the night, we are going to be predicting the Rookie of the Year. And this is going to be hotly contested because we have had a pretty special rookie class on paper in terms of fantasy production. So, Mags, you may have spoke about him a little bit earlier already, so it may not become as too much of a surprise. Who is your prediction for Rookie of the Year?
Yep. Aaron Rodgers is going to be the Rookie of the Year, guys. Let me tell you something. RJ Harvey. You got to call him RJ Harvey Spectre because he's the best closer in this game, guys. He's going to come in and he is going to light up the NFL field, but even more so the fantasy football field, because I think if I've got my thinking cap on and I see Sean Payton and I connect the dots, you think you know what he's going to try and do here with RJ Harvey. He's drafted him above what a lot of people, not me, what a lot of people thought he should have went. And I just think he's going to come in. He's going to play. I'm hesitant to say, play the Alvin Kamara role because there's only ever going to be one Alvin Kamara. He's, the greatest running back we've seen for fantasy in the last 10 years. And that includes Christian McCaffrey. Alvin Kamara is number one ahead of him, I think, if you look at the last 10 years. That is the massive ceiling of all ceilings. But if he can get 75% of the way there, that's a hell of a good player. So I'm hoping that he comes in. He is using the pass catching role. We talked about J.K. Dobbins not really being too much of a threat. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what RJ Harvey can do. He's going to be used. He got the draft capital. I trust Sean Payton. I trust RJ Harvey. Seems like a match made in heaven. I'm waiting for something to go wrong. Nothing has yet. So I think this current trend, he's going to be the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, love it. How many touchdowns did Alvin Kamara have on Christmas Day? Was it 5 or was it 6?
Oh, wasn't it 7?
It was at least 5.
I've got 6 in my head.
Yeah,
that was.
I remember because I had him on a team in the consolation bracket, so I was absolutely fuming that I didn't make the playoff.
That was just
I remember
insane. Christmas
having
Day,
him
wasn't it,
in.
or Christmas Eve?
Yeah, I remember having it. Was it finals? Was it? It might have been
Yeah.
finals, or at least it was.
Yeah, it was.
It
Yeah.
was finals, and I was in 3 finals, and on one of them I had him, and in the other I was playing against him. So I was like, you're just kind of like,
Well, they're
no,
done.
like after a while, I was like, okay, you can stop now. I'm going to win this, please. Enough.
Yeah, love the pick. I absolutely love the fact that J.K. Dobbins has landed there, just in case it was to push RJ Harvey down even a little bit in terms of value, because I would be buying certainly. Now, James, your selection is just chef's kiss. It is perfection. Because you've gone for a Tampa Bay Buccaneer as your rookie of the year. Explain why you've gone for Emeka Egbuka.
I'm not really sure. I tried to go a bit further down the list, and I knew that obviously Mags would want RJ Harvey, so I just thought I'd look at someone at the back end of the first round. Obviously, we could all say Ashton Janty and Marianne Hampton or Ted McMillan or whatever. I just thought I'd look towards the end of the first round, and I think Egbuka is someone that I really liked, but obviously everyone's sort of down on him because of the landing spot and the fact that he's behind Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. So I'm just looking at, basically, I'm kind of hoping that throughout the season he sort of capitalizes on a couple of injuries, or kind of takes over from maybe Godwin or Evans. They're both getting on a bit injury history there. And it's not necessarily a safe bet. I wouldn't be putting too much money on this. I really wanted to go for Craig Henderson, really. But yeah, I just thought that someone towards the end of the first round, and it's one of those stories. Like I like with the with awards, if there's like a story behind it, or it's not someone that's that obvious. And so like a wide receiver that no one really expects to have a good season. If he kind of breaks out, has 1,000 yards, something like that, then I think he'd be on the sort of the name on everyone's lips. And it's easy to be down on someone for landing spot, but things change so quickly in the NFL. So I wouldn't be sort of judging too much on that. And I think he can be in for a good season.
Yeah, well, I obviously agree because he's an amazing player, and I think people are going to be surprised. I really do think that Chris Godwin is not going to be, at least he's not going to be 100% the first 4 or 5 games of the season. And he went for a horrific injury. I think Egbuka it's been publicised that he's been Baker's number 1 target in camp so far. He's going for him all the time. Everyone's raving about him. I think he's the real deal, and I think people will absolutely thank themselves for picking him at, say, what he went about the 108 in rookie drafts, 108, 109, 110 range, because I think come the end of this season, it's going to be, well, Godwin's left or Mike Evans has finished. Egbuka's absolutely feasting. So, it's such a great pick for Dynasty. And I think he's got an outside chance. I think he really has. Because if he starts hot, they're going to keep him rolling throughout the season. So, like that pick. I've gone for another one again that's probably a bit further down the list. So I would have gone RJ Harvey, but I kind of thought that Max was going to go RJ Harvey because that's his guy. So I went again against consensus because Ashton Genty could easily have been our 3 picks and it would have been fairly boring. I've gone for Quinshon Judkins as someone that, I just think, again, there's a storyline there of everyone thinks that the Cleveland Browns offense is going to suck. Who are they going to have at quarterback? I think they might surprise a few people. And I just think that Quinshon Judkins has got the absolute lot. I think he's electric. He's going to be at least the first down and second down runner back on the team. And I think he's going to score plenty of touchdowns. As long as the offense is okay, then I think he's going to have plenty of scoring opportunities and he's going to surprise people. I think he's going to outscore TreVeyon Henderson for this year. And I just think he's almost a complete back. We've not seen him catch as many passes as would like in college, but he can absolutely do that. And I think that he's going to have a massive ceiling. So it would probably take an Ashton Genty injury, to be honest. But if it was to happen, then I think any of our 3 picks is in line for perhaps the next tier down as someone that could win. So I think we might have a chance with that. And Mags, I think you've got a great chance for this next category, which is breakout player of the year. A guy that I think, am I right in saying he only played in 3 games? Was it 3 games last year? It felt like there was so many more games than that because he was absolutely dominant. But you have gone for a Kansas City Chief, but which player have you picked?
Yeah, I've gone for Rashee Rice here, and the hype is real. You'll probably have noticed Rashee Rice is crawling up board slowly and slowly and slowly. He played 3 full games last year. It put him, if you just look at those 3 full games, he played 4 games, but he had to come off because of his injury. So I'm not going to count that because he didn't finish it. He would have been, he's wide receiver 2 overall points per game, basically, is what I'm trying to get at. Just behind Jamar Chase, who we know who had an historic year, finishing on 21 points per game for a wide receiver. Rashee Rice is Travis Kelce 5 years ago. If you watch the way that he is used at the Kansas City Chiefs, it is the exact same way that the Chiefs use Travis Kelce. Those little short, like dink and dunk, yards after the catch, absolutely perfect for a guy like Rashee Rice who gets up to speed, gets the ball, and is electric and is away with it. If he can stay healthy and if he can stop being such a knucklehead off the field, man, it's going to be a real good year for Rashee Rice. I don't mind too much that he's a bit of a, like every wide receiver, worth their salt is usually, not quite fully all there upstairs. So I'm not too mad at it with Rashee Rice. I like my receivers with a bit of edge to them. I think if he fit all year, expect him top 5. I'm going to call it, I'll say top 5 wide receiver if he's fit all year and the Chiefs are healthy all year too. I don't see his usage changing that much. I know Xavier Worthy came on really well, but Rashee Rice is the man at Kansas City. I think we're going to see it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I absolutely love Rashee Rice. And for me, I would have him over Xavier Worthy 100 times out of 100 in Dynasty.
Yes.
I think he's the exact model that you want. Mahomes he just gets the ball in Rashee Rice's hands really quickly and he does the damage after the catch. And you're going to see so many targets to him. I really do think I think Worthy's going to have the big plays, but I think volume-wise, especially PPR leagues, Rashee Rice is the guy that you want. So he was on pace for it. So why can't he be a top 5 wide receiver this year? Someone that we thought could have been a top 5 wide receiver in 2024, but certainly wasn't, was Marvin Harrison Jr. And he is your pick, James, for Breakout Player of the Year. Really like the selection, but why was he your selection?
Yeah, for me, it feels like a fairly obvious pick, and obviously it could go wrong, but we all kind of expected a better rookie season than we got. So I'm kind of just banking on him kind of returning back to our expectations in his second year. I mean, I've just been looking at his rookie stats, and he wouldn't need to do too much more for us to be really happy with him in the rookie season. At 800 yards, nearly 900, 8 touchdowns. The Cardinals added no one to their offense this season. Like literally all their investment went into the defense. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, the coaching staff have probably got this season to save their jobs. If they don't make the playoffs, if they're not sort of a 10, 11 win team, then yeah, they're going to be out the door. And he's the best player on the offense, and they're going to have to find a way to make the most of him in ways that they didn't last year. And yeah, I think 10 touchdowns, 1,100 yards, maybe 70 catches, something like that, is so easily within his sort of range of outcomes. And yeah, that so easily see him as a top 12 wide receiver of fantasy, and then obviously he'll be well up there in terms of dynasty rankings and things like that. So yeah, I just don't see it taking too much of an improvement, and I just feel like the Cardinals have to find a way to get that improvement out of him. Otherwise, yeah, the coaching staff's just not going to be around. And there's just not a lot else. Obviously, Trey McBride, yeah, we all know he's a great tight end, but there's literally no one else. There's no other pass catchers there that we're really worried about. So just a little bit more volume, using him in slightly more creative ways, and you could easily see him, yeah, just be that top 10 wide receiver that we could be expecting out the gate.
Yeah, I completely agree. He's certainly got the talent. He's top 5, top 7 in terms of wide receiver talent in the NFL. The only thing that makes me nervous is Kyler. I think not just the coaches. I think Kyler's playing for his job this year. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
It's been so disappointing for the Cardinals. Obviously, not taking them where they want to go. be interesting to see what happens if it doesn't quite work for Kyler this year. But I think it's going to happen for Marvin Harrison Jr. And I've seen him slip down, dynasty rankings. It pops a bit too far. So yeah, absolutely love that as a selection. Mine is, again, it's a bit chalky. It's another 2024 rookie in Rome Odunze. I just think all the pieces are there now for the Chicago Bears. The offensive play caller. I think Caleb's going to take another step in year 2. And I think Rome Odunze is going to emerge as the wide receiver 1 for the Chicago Bears ahead of DJ Moore. Luther Burden, I think, is going to be good. But I really do think Rome Odunze is the one that they want to stand out. They've been singing his praises in camp and all off season. So all signs point to Odunze finally, breaking out and being that player we thought he could have been in 2024. So it's a bit chalky, but I want to win one of these categories at least. So I've gone for Rome. Comeback player of the year is the next category, and this is an interesting one. We've got a couple of quarterbacks and a running back. So Mags, absolutely love this guy. I think he's going to be absolutely fantastic for fantasy this year. You've gone for Dak Prescott.
It's how many times are people going to make this mistake? That's my big question. When Dak Prescott is healthy, he is a top 10 quarterback for fantasy football. That's a fact. Like, if you go and look at how he finishes, if he stays healthy, that's where he's going to finish. And some people might worry about the injury record, the injury history, the longevity, all that. I'm not worried about, like, Dak Prescott is not an old quarterback at all. So I'm not too worried about his injuries or anything like that. I think he hasn't had multiple seasons in a row where he's really done you dirty. I think he'll come back. He'll have a fully fit season. He's got CeeDee Lamb. He's just added in other weapons as well. I think Dak's going to have a real nice season. And if he stays on the field, he will be a top 10 quarterback. We've seen him go even higher than that before. For me, it's just a no-brainer that Dak Prescott can easily win comeback player of the year because I'd say he's done it before. You look at the last time he was injured, he came back. He was quarterback 3? Like, we've seen this happen not so long ago. So I think he can repeat history and break back into the top 10.
Yeah, I agree. I've tweeted out yesterday, I think that the Dak and CD stack is the one that's going to be the cheat code for fantasy again this year. I really do think that it's probably my favourite trade of the offseason as well. Someone approached me who just drafted Ted McMillan. I had CeeDee Lamb. I also had Bryce Young, and he said, how much would it take to get Bryce Young off me? I said, well, you've got Dak. I only had to offer him my 211 on top of Bryce Young to get Dak off him. And I was like, yep, I'll take that all day.
You were arrested for theft after.
Indeed. So, yeah, very happy with that. Yeah, like you say, his upside is a top 5 quarterback any given season. So, yeah, love that as a selection. James, you've gone for Christian McCaffrey. I also love this. It was someone that I was definitely thinking about as my pick for this category.
Yeah, same with my last one. I think it's a fairly obvious choice if things go well for him. I mean, he, like, obviously Dak was I think he was the QB4 Max there in the 2023 season, so the season before last. But McCaffrey was the number 1 fantasy player that season. He outscored all the quarterbacks from the running back. So yeah, I'm not. And obviously, as running backs get older, it's more important than it is with the quarterbacks. So I'm not expecting him to be the number 1 fantasy player this season. But we just need to see him back healthy. If he's on the field, he is going to be scoring 15 PPR points a game. So he just needs to be on the field, play 12 to 15 games. And yeah, then he's well within a shout for this award. And then obviously, if he's anywhere close to what he was the season before last, then yeah, if he plays that many games, he's the running back 1 in points per game at least. And then yeah, the comeback player of the year, we're having this conversation, and it could so easily be him. I think, what did he play, like 3 games last year? I think the thing is that he left a sour taste in everyone's mouth because of how it happened. We had no idea that he was going to play just 3 games, and his first game was like halfway through the season. It took ages, didn't it?
Yeah.
And that's just really put everyone off him. I found it really hard to buy him last year because no one obviously wanted to sell him because they were just sort of, his value is really low, lowest it has been in forever. So it's not going to take much at all for him to be a top 6 running back based on what we've seen in the past. And the 49ers, they were still a good offense last year. I know they missed the playoffs, and that's just a huge surprise. But the main issues were on the defense. The offense was still really good. Well, for the 49ers, it wasn't really good, but comparatively to the rest of the league, it's a top 10 offense. If you slot Christian McCaffrey back into that, there's no Debo anymore. Brandon Ayuk's going to miss a few games at the start of the season, potentially. Ricky Pearsall's injured already. If McCaffrey's healthy, he's seeing 6 to 8 targets early on in the season, and if he carries on, then it's not really much else that needs to be said. It's not going to take a lot at all for him to be in this conversation. So I'm happy to pick him now and see where we are at the end of the year.
Yeah, I agree. I think the 49ers have got the easiest strength of schedule, or they're at least top 2. I think they're predicted to win something like 12 games this year, especially given that they only won 6 last year. I think they've got that 4th place schedule coming up. I think they're just going to absolutely rinse through their opponents. So, really love the Christian McCaffrey pick. It's still a bit cheating, to be honest, because he's not actually coming back from anything, because JJ McCarthy never actually saw the field officially last year. But I do think that by default, he's a quarterback. The story's right. And I think that you've only got to be an average quarterback to really work in that Kevin O'Connell offense for the Vikings. So I think JJ McCarthy, who apparently has been looking good in OTAs, looking really solid, getting command of the offense, has got some incredible weapons. Apparently, Jordan Anderson is going to miss the first 3 games of the season through some legal things he's got tied up. But I think JJ McCarthy's going to be an average quarterback I'm going to say he's year 1 because he hasn't had any games yet, and then push on into 2026. So I think he could be in the running for comeback player of the year just by default because of the offense he's in.
Can I be the audience screaming at their phone, their TV, their laptop? Where is he coming back from?
Injury.
Come on. He was never going to play anyway, was he?
I don't know. I don't know I can't remember whether he was ahead of Sam Darnold last year or not in terms of starting, going to play games. But I know people were definitely excited to see him. And it was pretty nice.
Null and void, James. What do you think? I don't think I'll qualify him from this. I think JJ McCarthy has a great year.
I think the official rules for the comeback player of the year award is that you can't be a rookie. So it depends whether we're keeping him classed as a rookie or not. Because I really wanted it to be Brian Robinson, obviously, when he got shot at the start of the season, his rookie year, but he didn't qualify because he was a rookie. So it depends whether we're allowing him as a rookie or not, I guess.
We'll see how well he does.
The host rules are fine. And we better quickly move on to, 3 veterans here talking about 3 veteran players. We're going to head to Mags. I think, perhaps my wide receiver's not quite touching 30 yet, but Mags, you've gone for a wide receiver who is changed. Actually, both of your picks have changed teams in the offseason. So you've gone for Stephon Diggs as your pick.
Now, when I said earlier, I like my wide receivers to have a little edge, so maybe Stephon Diggs goes slightly ahead or slightly further than that. It's been all over the news about what's going on. I think things are going to be fine, probably. When Stephon Diggs sees the field, things are going to be fine because he's great for Dynasty Fantasy Football, and he's paired up with, goddamn, Drake May, who is an absolute weapon. He doesn't have too much to throw to out there. I know they've added bits and pieces here, but if I'm Drake May, I'm looking for Stephon Diggs. That's for sure. That is my number 1 go-to target. So I think he can come in, have a really, really solid season. He is cheap right now. You can get him real late. So I've been picking up a lot of Stephon Diggs. Didn't own a lot before. Now I do. Now I've got quite a lot of Stephon Diggs. I think he's got, 1, maybe 2 years in him, not much more than that. But I'm delighted with that. If I'm picking up a veteran, I don't need more than that.
Yeah, absolutely love that pick. And James, you've also gone for an aging wide receiver. I think he's 32 now. Moved teams to back home to LA. But yeah, it was brilliant last year, Devontae Adams, and you've gone for him as your veteran player of the year for 2025.
Yeah, pretty obvious reasons again. Moving to that Rams offense, obviously one of the best offenses in the league, one of the best play callers in the league. They've shown before that they can sort of maintain 2 wide receivers, with obviously Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. As far as I'm concerned, Adams has got more juice in him than Cooper Kupp did last year. So, I'm not 100% sure exactly where Cooper Kupp finished in terms of fantasy points per game. It was very disappointing towards the end of the season, but I have a feeling it was okay before that. That Adams is just sort of one of those like red zone monsters. So how often does he score 10 touchdowns in a season? So even if Puka's a wide receiver 1, you can easily see Adams outscoring him in terms of touchdowns, and he won't be too far behind him in terms of overall fantasy points. And yeah, veteran players like this that, like Max said, you can get them for so cheap. Obviously, the feeling around Adams is a lot better than it is around Diggs at the moment. So yeah, he's not as cheap as Diggs, but I think he's going to have a better season, and he's obviously in a better offense. So yeah, I'm sort of happy to sort of pay a bit more of a premium for someone that I think I've got a bit more confidence in.
Yeah, agreed. I think he was someone that I was targeting for a contenders last year, just because he was on the Jets. It was up in the air about their quarterback situation, but he was still producing. And I think I bought him for a second, and I'd continue to buy him for a second this offseason, because I think he's still got a year, perhaps 2 years. He's gone back home. He's in a happy situation in LA. I think he's perfect for a contender. I really do. Mine is Calvin Ridley. So Calvin Ridley's not really hit the heights that he was meant to, with him given the contract in Tennessee. But I think that coming in, I think there's more of a fresh feel to the Titans this year with Cam Ward, obviously number 1 overall pick. And the feeling has been that they've had a really good chemistry struck already between Ward and Ridley. I think the competition is not great as well. They've obviously taken a couple of rookies in the draft as well. So yeah, I just think that Calvin Ridley, the volume is going to be there. I think that Cam Ward is going to lean on him. So I think that he's someone that is cheaper than Devontae Adams in terms of cost, but probably a bit more expensive than Diggs maybe. But I think he's someone that is going to be in for a big year in terms of targets. And then who knows, if the touchdowns come on top of that, I think that he could be a worthy winner when we look back at the end of 2025.
Yep.
We'll go for the next category is the late round pick of the year. And we've got a tight end, running back, and a wide receiver. So I like the variance here. So Mags, you've gone for the tight end, and you've gone for a tight end that's moved teams in Evan Ingram.
Yeah, I've been scooping up a lot of Evan Ingram in any kind of startup drafts I've been doing. You can get him around round 14. I think I even got him around 15 in one of the drafts that I did. And this is someone, I've said this a couple of times in this show. 4 years, Evan Ingram, when he came out as a rookie and burst onto the scene, for years people were saying, come on, we need that season again. We need that season again. And then as soon as he done it, people were just like, we're doing something else now, Evan. We don't care. Like, it's just like really not bothered that he has broken out. Like, he is one of those top tier, not tippy top tier, but right below it. He's one of those tight ends that is in with a chance of finishing tight end 3 overall this year. I don't see him being Brock Bowers, or don't see him being Trey McBride, but if he can finish his tight end 3, I mean, he finished his tight end 2 just 2 years ago. So I think I could see a real chance of him finishing in that tight end 3 position. And the later you can get that tight end that makes a difference, the better. So I think Evan Ingram should give you that perfect, perfect little round peg, round hole for a perfect tight end draft in around round 14, round 15 that makes a difference. Like if you can start a tight end that you trust every week, that is brilliant. And without having to pay those, second, third round pick for him, I think Ingram's a real steal.
Yeah, I have to agree. He's just so cheap. People just don't want him for some reason, and I don't really get it because there's some teams I've got Ingram as my tight end 1, and I feel like I don't really feel like I need to upgrade it. I was just going to see how the season plays out, but yeah, I'm happy. I think he has spells where he can have a 10 catch game and he can go crazy. So yeah, really, really like Ingram. And yeah, he's too cheap in my eyes. This next guy is definitely not too cheap. He's too expensive. We've got an Iowa State wide receiver, but not the good one. James, you've gone for Jalen Noel. And to be honest, I do like this pick because he is someone that will be going late in drafts in 2025, and even rookie drafts, you're able to get him late. So it's pretty obvious. But why have you gone for Jalen Noel?
I just have to find a way to squeeze him into every show that we do. So
it was either this.
Yeah. It was either this or Rookie of the Year. It was a bit much for Rookie of the Year. So yeah, I kind of looked at his late round pick. So he was also obviously like a late round rookie pick, third round, end of the third round, sort of a rookie pick. And yeah, I've obviously spoken to death about how much I love him. So we won't go any further. But yeah, such a low cost, and I think we're getting like the 13th round or something in that startup mock we did. So yeah, there's a low cost there, and yeah, it doesn't take a lot for him to sort of pay off and to sort of be valued much higher than that in a year's time. So yeah, I won't go into any more.
No, you've said quite a lot about Jalen Noel, and I just hope that he doesn't go off the season because you'll continue to talk about him next season. But yeah, no, I like the pick. He's obviously got the talent. It's just situation. Perhaps he's behind Christian Kirk to start off with, but definitely got the talent, and they obviously put decent draft capital into him. So we'll see how it plays out. I've gone for someone that was a rookie sort of middle of the third round pick in Pat Bryant to the Denver Broncos. A big specimen. Sean Payton, he's been waxing lyrical about Pat Bryant, and he's just a bit of a boring pick. But when you have someone like Sean Payton that talks about RJ Harvey and talks about Pat Bryant in their offense, you need to take note. And he's even comped him to Michael Thomas a couple of weeks ago, which is hilarious because we know how good he was for fantasy. Not saying Pat Bryant is going to be that, but I think he can emerge as the wide receiver 2 for the Broncos behind Cortland Sutton. And Cortland Sutton's getting up there in age, so who knows? There might be even more of a role for 2026. So really like Pat Bryant as a late round flyer and someone that I've taken a few shares off, but probably not enough because I really do like the prospect.
Nice. So
we've got a couple of categories left. This is the one where Jalen Noel should have been picked in. This is Bust of the Year. No, this is more sort of aimed at players that are more higher up picks that we think could disappoint. So, Mags, this is a really, really hot one. This is a hot take. Was he the running back 1? He was running back 1, wasn't he, last year? And Saquon Barkley absolutely smashed it with so many touchdowns on that huge season, almost record breaking. But why do you think that Saquon Barkley could be a bust this year?
I'd love to tell you I've got loads of stats and figures and things for you, but I got 2 words for you. Madden curse. He's going down. That's all I got. It's pretty much undefeated? Yeah, he's doomed.
Yeah, well, to be honest, in terms of running backs, I think every time a running back's been on the cover, I think that they have busted the next year or been injured or something like that. And I think the stats that back up just how many carries that he had in 2024, and then players that have had that many carries going into the next season either disappoint, they don't score as many touchdowns, or they get injured. So, I think there's, we don't want him to get injured, but I think if he did, there's a lot of people that have traded for Barkley that think that he's going to go again this year and have another amazing season. Perhaps he won't.
What's going to happen when Jalen Noel ends up on the Madden cover? That's the real question.
Wow, no, that is a hot take. No one wants to see that. James, you've gone for another bit of a diva wide receiver for your selection in DK Metcalf. So why do you think that he could be a bust this year?
Oh, you spoiled it. I was going to say my pick was Jaden Higgins. Yeah, the DK Metcalf thing is Aaron Rodgers thing, really. I'm just so uninspired by that. The Steelers do this every year, really, or every couple of years, don't they, where they sort of change their quarterback, but it's just the least inspiring option available to them. It gets them into the playoffs every year, but it doesn't get them any further than that. DK is a player that I had a lot of in fantasy after sort of his rookie season, and I was really high on him, and he's always sort of underwhelming, and I just don't see that changing this year at Steelers. Obviously, there's not a lot of competition around, but just not sure that matters. I don't see it going well with Rodgers. I don't see him gelling well with Rodgers. I don't see him gelling that well with the Steelers in general, really. Just doesn't feel right to me. So I hope he doesn't, because I still have a few shares of him, but I just wouldn't be surprised if we sort of see him as back end wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4, and that's not what you want when you're sort of DK Metcalf. Just on name value alone, he's valued a lot higher than that. So that's why.
I do have one hot take, actually, just while we're on the kit.
Do it.
How about this? You mentioned Aaron Rodgers. How about Will Howard finishes the year as a starting quarterback for the Steelers? He takes Aaron Rodgers' job.
We should have a hot takes category. Wow. Well, I mean, Rodgers is in such a tough division, isn't he? The AFC North. I think that he could easily get killed. So if he gets replaced that way, or if he just sucks against two good defenses and the Bengals. Love that. Mine, I mean, you're going to love this as well, Mags, because mine is Kyren Williams, someone that
yes, correct.
You've unplanted your flag on every single year. It's not happened so far, but 2025 is going to be the year, I feel. Although there has been talks the last couple of days about, the contract renewal is drawn ever closer, but they've been talking about this for months and months and months, and nothing has seemed to happen. They obviously drafted another rookie this year, as well as Blake Corum in the second round last year. So I really do think that Kyren Williams is not going to see the same volume that he did in 2024. I think that his efficiency is going to continue to go down. And I think that a lot of the touchdowns that were there for Kyren Williams is going to go through the air now to Devontae and Puka. So I think that Kyren Williams, for where he's been drafted and been ranked, I think he could easily bust this year. And I think someone like Kyren, if he was to be replaced, say, was it Jarquez Hunter, come in there, and you just don't know with their offense. He could easily be replaced, and his value is going to fall off a cliff. So, Kyren is my bust. And then the final
we
one.
We are obviously obliged, because I know Kev's watching. We are obliged to say that Sydney Sweetie was also a bust of the year again. Yeah.
She's in the nominations every single year.
Yes. Absolutely, yes.
She hasn't won one yet, but maybe next year. The Fantasy Wildcard MVP of the year. Now, Mags, you're going to have to explain yourself for this pick, because you've gone for someone that I'm actually fading. But you've gone for, I mean, he's a pretty awesome quarterback, but is he the fantasy MVP anymore?
Can I ask you guys, what happens every time anyone doubts the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes? Because I've got a pretty good idea, and I think Patrick Mahomes has got a very heavy hand, because it's so filled with Super Bowl rings, about what happens when you doubt Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. People like you, Ali, are feeding the greatest quarterback to ever grace the NFL, and I just think that it's time for Patrick Mahomes to put the cape back on, stop relying on the side cast, and say, you know what, there's a reason why, people were debating me with Tom Brady only a couple of years into my career. There's a reason why I almost made history going back to back to back before I even turned 30. This guy is a machine. He only threw 26 touchdowns last year. We know he threw double that in one of the years. You know, he threw 50 touchdowns one year. I think we're going to see Mahomes put the cape on again. I think he's going to be the heartbeat of this team. It's not going to be little dink and duck and get 3 yards here, 4 yards there, and control the clock. I think there's going to be a bit of a culture shift. If you watch carefully, and I did like this, the end of the Super Bowl, when he did try and pull it back, that was exciting stuff. That those bombs to Xavier Worthy, those like last couple of touchdowns the Chiefs got, that was a lot of fun if we weren't getting absolutely annihilated. I wonder if we don't see some more of that. Like we said, we got Rashee Rice coming back, who I expect to be a top tier option for fantasy football. He didn't have that last year either. You think about the receivers, Kelsey didn't do well in terms of tie end scores. Worthy didn't do well in terms of wide receiver scoring. No one did well in that team. I think Rashee Rice is going to finish as a top 5 wide receiver. If he's healthy, that'll only boost Mahomes' numbers. If he gets 10 more touchdowns, which, I mean, he had 36 touchdowns with Pat Mahomes, doesn't seem unlikely. He's right back in the top 5 easily. So I think Mahomes with the cape back on, don't call it a comeback. My screen's gone blurry. I'm so excited. Yeah. They're trying to censor me. I won't let them. I'm still on. You can still hear me. I feel like it's the I have the Oscar music starting to play, and I'm still talking. Give me Patrick Mahomes, MVP of the year. I'm back. You heard it here first.
I love that. Absolutely love that. And James, I do love your pick, because you've gone for someone that, I mean, it could have been the MVP of last year, the sort of advantage that he gave you, but you've gone for Brock Bowers. You obviously think that he can kick on again in 2025 and repeat, if not better, his rookie season. Yeah,
exactly that. I think we had this this debate as whether he was the rookie of the year last year. And yeah, in terms of fantasy, obviously, I think we went with Jaden Daniels in the end, obviously. But yeah, Brock Bowers he's the clear sort of tight end 1 in Dynasty, and you could just only see that offense getting better. Much better head coach, much better play caller now, much better quarterback. Like, well, what could go wrong? I think obviously they've got Ashton Janty as well, so maybe the touchdowns aren't going to be as high as we want for Brock Bowers. But if that offense is as good as I'm kind of hoping it will be with Geno there, then yeah, we could see him be sort of the Travis Kelce seasons that we've seen a few years ago, where just absolutely dominates every other tight end. And yeah, like you said, there's that sort of positional advantage. You're just not really going to get that from anyone else in any other position. So yeah, that's why I've gone with Bowers. I don't really have too many shares of him, so there's no bias at all. But yeah, just it's always nice to see someone sort of distance themselves from the field like that. So yeah, for someone so young as well, it'd be kind of good to see.
Yeah, certainly. I think if he was to do it again in 2025, I think people will start to talk about him in the Travis Kelce category, from where he was the last, I don't know, that 6, 7, 8 year run where Kelce was just the undeniable tight end 1. I think you might see that with Bowers. I've gone for Jackson Smith-Njigba. Again, he's someone that I've not got too many shares of, which is a shame, because I think he's on a trajectory where I can see him being a dynasty top 5, top 6 wide receiver at the end of 2025. I really think that he can get into that perhaps second tier of wide receivers in terms of his age. I think his usage. I think the offense is going to be okay. I think he's got Cooper Kupp as a teammate now, which I think is going to be fine. Now that he's not got DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett's not there. I do think that now is the time for JSN to shine and have such a massive target share in 2025. I think he'll be the first read here. I think the touchdowns are going to come. And so, yeah, I think he's someone that is sort of already on the cusp of being a wide receiver 1. But I think he'll be cement himself as a high wide receiver 1 in 2025. So he's my MVP. And with that, we're going to quickly roll into the 2-minute warning, because we have got some submitted dynasty trades And these are interesting. I'm definitely going to come for Mags for this first one because it does involve Rashee Rice. We've got a 12-team dynasty. This is a 1 quarterback league, PPR. We've got Rashee Rice or 226 first. Now, it does say that they were projected late. I'm not sure how you can project both of them to be that late, but we'll go with 2 mid to late 2026 first.
Especially in 1 QB, this is Rashee Rice all day, right? You're not going to get a huge difference maker quarterback at all. They don't exist in 1 QB, really. So, yeah, give me the 2 first for what I'm projecting to be top 5 wide receiver.
Yeah, James, are you similar? Are you still leaning Rashee Rice here?
Yeah, the 1 QB thing. This was a super flex trade. It's a much harder thing to consider. But yeah, Rashee Rice is going to have a higher ceiling than those picks are going to get me, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Same for me. Rashee Rice, love him. I think he's got top 5 ceiling this year. We've got a super flex league this time, 12-team dynasty league, PPR. We've got Jahmyr Gibbs plus Zay Flowers, or we've got Drake London, Kenneth Walker, and a 2027 first. James, I'm going to come to you first for this one.
I think Mag sort of winced there when he heard one name, but I think I'd probably lean that side. I'm a bit of a Kenneth Walker fan, and I'm not necessarily the biggest Zay Flowers fan. And I see Gibbs and London as similar-ish value. I'll definitely take Gibbs over London. There's no debate there. But there's not too much in it for me. And I think if you're giving me that 27 first, and obviously Mags loves that draft class, he's been telling us to buy those 27 firsts for the last few months. So yeah, that first there kind of pushes me towards that side. I think, don't know how much you're getting out of Zay Flowers. He's obviously a solid player, but his ceiling's wide receiver 2, isn't it? So Drake London with Michael Penix this year, hopefully it goes a little bit better. And I think Kenneth Walker can get close to Jahmyr Gibbs in terms of he's not going to finish above him, but he's not going to be too far behind. I don't think he's going to be a top 12 running back this season, I think. So yeah, I'll take the side with London in the first.
Mags, are you similar, or are you picking the other side?
It is quite close. I do really like the 27 first on the other side. That is what tips it for me. We have spoken about it a couple of times. Drake London and Michael Penix. I'm in on. I think that's going to be really exciting. And Gibbs, let's just say it out loud, without David Montgomery going down, he would not be talked about as he is right now. That was instrumental to how we speak about Jahmyr Gibbs right now. Some people has him, as Dynasty running back 1 overall, and they didn't when Montgomery was still about. So yeah, I don't know. I do have question marks about Gibbs, not in terms of how good is he, but in terms of how good is David Montgomery, because he's still a damn good player. So I'll take the London Walker in first.
Yeah, me too. I think that pace with Penix, it was insane. Was it 2 or 3 game stretch was unbelievable. I think Kenneth Walker could break out this year, really do, if he can stay healthy. And the 2027 first is too much to turn down. If that turns into a top 6 pick, then that is absolutely golden. We've got the same format, 12-team Dynasty League, Superflex, PPR. This is for you, Mags. This is Justin Fields or a 2026 first. We've got no projection about where it could be.
I'll just re-roll, take the first. I don't think Fields is going to be an NFL starter for very long. He's just not good enough, I don't think. I just don't think he's composed enough. I don't think he's got the mental fortitudes to do it. He's got another new team. I just don't see it. So I'll re-roll, take the first. Some pretty good quarterbacks coming out in 26, so I'll hopefully snag them.
James, do you think that the Jets are going to be reaching for a quarterback in 2026 and replacing Fields?
Yeah, it just wouldn't shock you, would it? It's just so hard to see him as anything more than a 1 year starter. He'll still be in the league. He'll get a chance as a backup, and then maybe he can sort of earn some snaps and be a starter for a few games, even if it does go badly. But yeah, I would just really struggle to pay a first for someone that I can't be certain I'm going to be able to use next season. So yeah, I'd be looking to spend that elsewhere if I needed a quarterback.
Yeah, agreed. I think he's someone that if you are a contender and your quarterback 2 isn't someone that's got the higher ceiling, perhaps you've got a Bryce Young as your quarterback 2, then I think he's a good buy, Fields, because I think he gives you that top 10 upside. But I wouldn't. He needs to be someone that you're buying at for anything less than a first. If you can, if it's a couple of seconds, future seconds, I'm happy to throw that. But not a 26 first in case it is top half. Lastly, we've got exactly the same format. We've got Chase Brown, or we've got Anthony Richardson and Joe Mixon. So, James, what side of the trade are you on here?
Yeah, I really don't. I don't want to say what the side I am on, because it just feels similar to that Fields conversation. Like, we don't even know if Anthony Richardson's going to be the starter this year. So how can we? This could be, this realistically, this trade could be Chase Brown for Joe Mixon, like, because Anthony Richardson could just not be a thing. It's just, it just feels horrible because Daniel Jones, really, but he's already got the lead because Richardson is already injured. There's been sort of positive news coming out about Jones and stuff like that, so it just feels horrible. But I just don't know how I can trade for him at this stage. I mean, maybe the value here is okay, but if I've got him, then I'm more than happy to make this trade and trade him away, because Chase Brown is obviously valued much higher than Joe Mixon. I think Chase Brown is maybe a little overvalued, but he's probably worth double what Joe Mixon is. Maybe, I don't know. That might be a little bit much, but I'll just be taking the Chase Brown side because I've just got no confidence with Richardson this year.
Mags, are you feeling a bit risky, wanting to go for the Richardson side, or are you just going for the more certain asset in Chase Brown?
Well, I feel like this is the perfect trade for Anthony Richardson, because you're essentially getting him for free, because in my eyes, Chase Brown and Joe Mixon have the same amount of time left in the NFL, because Chase Brown is not a good player. Chase Brown is not a good player at all. He just happens to be in a good opportunity, and the second the Bengals can replace him with a good one, they will. And I think Mixon's got 2 years left. Brown probably has 2 years left. I'll take Anthony Richardson for free. Yeah, give me the Richardson and Mixon side. Yeah,
it is a really close one. Is it Taj Brooks that went to the Bengals in the draft this year late on? Yeah, I like to see him given some opportunity. Chase Brown
running back as well, haven't
they? They have indeed. Be interesting to see, because Chase Brown is not built for a workhorse role, but obviously the offense is good, and he does score a lot of touchdowns. So it's different. I've got so much Anthony Richardson. I have managed to get out of him in a couple of leagues. So he's not someone that I want to trade for. But this is such an even trade, because you're essentially saying 1 year of Joe Mixon, 1 or 2 years of Chase Brown, and then you've got Richardson that you just don't know. He could end up moving teams and getting another chance. But like Justin Fields, who showed a bit more, but the upside is there. So perhaps I'll just lean Richardson and take a chance on Mixon giving me a top 10 this year, and then whatever else is a bonus. So it's a close one to finish us out. And with that is the end of the show. So thank you for tuning in. Be sure to follow us and subscribe on X and over at YouTube. Submit your Dynasty trades to us. You can find us at Fantasy Wildcard NFL on YouTube. And join us every Tuesday for our show. Thank you once again. And remember, when you have the wild card, you have the power to change the game.